Hey all, it's Scott here from Art of the Genre, and it's our favorite day, which is Folio Friday. Today we're going to be taking a look at Folio number 2, which is part of the Rozloff Keep series of 6 different adventures dealing with that kind of mega dungeon. I'll let you take a look at it here. This is a fantastic cover. I'll put it up right here. It's by Jim Holloway. This is a great piece. It's called When the Fat Lady Sings. It's got a great concept. Very, very Jim, because it's comical. It has a guy holding up a turtle. It's got this woman singing as the king kind of puts down his head and the spears are coming in at the last of his forces. So it's a great piece. I was very, very pleased that Jim said that I could use this for the cover of my second folio. And then we've got some great interior artwork as well. Jeff Laubenstein does some pieces in here. Travis Hansen, Matthew Ray. I don't know. There's a lot of different people that contributed to this one that I really, really like the overall concepts of what the art comes across as in it. I think it tells a good story. And it also expands on the concept of Rozloff Keep, which is the main premise for this particular module. Each one of the Rozloff Keep series is going to detail one level of the module, or one level of the dungeon. It's a 6th level dungeon, so this is dungeon level 2. And I will show you also one of the main purposes of this, which is to give you a visual of Darren Kelton, the town that actually surrounds the Rozloff Keep itself. So here it is. That is another great 3D piece done by our artist, designer, Andrew Rogers. He's fantastic. I couldn't have done 25 folios without him, so thank you, Andrew. But anybody who gets a folio, sees a folio, I think you're always going to be blown away by his 3D mapping and the artwork that he helps supply on the interior, not to mention his design work, which is fantastic in my opinion. But that town itself is a pretty large town that surrounds the keep. And it gives the players a lot more opportunity to go out and start exploring beyond just the dungeon. Because at this point, after completing the first level of the dungeon, they're going to have a little bit of celebrity around the town. Certainly the other noble houses are going to be taking notice of them, that they didn't get wiped out, that maybe the Ivory Scimitar isn't a joke, that House Aldenmuir might not be crumbling and handing over their magical banner at any particular time. All those things are put into effect, and that means that the players have a better opportunity to also go out and explore the town that surrounds them and get other magic items or get other things. I think I've detailed maybe 12 different places of note outside that you can obviously take a look at or described in the Gazetteer section. There's some great artwork for those by Michael Wilson as well. And those are actually pieces that I think I'm going to go back and take a look at in folio number 26 when I design it, because we're going to go back and have another opportunity to expand on our little world of Darren Kelton and Rozloff Keep without dealing with the magic dungeon, but the things that surround it and the town itself, which I think will be fun. It'll also get us back into a lower level because the Curse of Rozloff Keep obviously was in the teens. So that can get big, ugly, and grand very fast. So you've got that town. That's one of the things that's going to be taken into effect in this particular module. I'm going to grab some notes here as well and just go over a couple of things that I see as important within the module when you're running this. The first one of these, there's a great picture by Chet Minton. I'll show you. This is, I think I titled it something like Brand, Iron Spike, and the Black Vanguard delve a little too deeply. Because they're in trouble in this particular picture. And Brand, as a matter of fact, is captured by the dungeon and put into the second level. And he is an NPC that can be found here and give you an alliance into the Black Vanguard, which is another banner company. So he's very important to the overall arcing story of this and how you deal with him and if you have the ability to rescue him. So Brand is very important. And one of the things I think people mentioned to me after seeing the first one of these was that my traps were too nasty. Is there such a thing? It's too nasty, traps. I don't know. I mean, one of the things that I say whenever I'm using an adventure, if you don't like it, throw the damn things out. I don't care. It's not like I'm going to come to your house, knock on your door, and say, "Why didn't you use my dungeon exactly like I told you to use it?" No, it's absolutely your ability to adjust those any way you want to. But I always side on the fact that I think player characters are designed to be tougher than anything else in their level area. So unless you have a way to really threaten them, and especially a way to keep thieves important, you're going to have nasty traps or traps that could be lethal. So my traps are fairly lethal, I guess. But that's one of the things that people talked about. Another thing that you're going to get into is a better relationship with Lord Aldenmere and the ability to kind of understand and facilitate his house and the grounds around his house. One of the things I'd mentioned before is that there is a ghost of his wife, Astrid, Aldenmere, who haunts the grounds around a well. She was murdered there by the sheriff, Snee, who is working obviously in conjunction with one of the other houses to get rid of House Aldenmere. And that mystery can definitely set Lord Aldenmere off if he finds out that Snee did it. It's one of the things that the characters kind of have to keep under wraps if, for some reason, they do have the ability to communicate with her, recover a cloak of etherealness, which allows her to actually speak to the characters, because it works opposite for her, where she kind of takes a corporal form with that cloak, where you take an ethereal form. So it's kind of a neat way to do it. And she becomes a primary character here. When I was playing, I think the third time I was playing this dungeon, one of the characters came in later. One of the players came in later in it and played Astrid, who was very, very vital to the campaign as it went on through its completion. And I think typically you play her as a bard. Nevertheless, she is in there. She's very important. Another thing that happens in this is there's going to be a small earthquake. This earthquake sets up the events that will happen later in other adventures that are very, very important, because the magical dungeon itself feels the vibrations, thinks something on the outside is threatening it, and instead of just dealing with protecting itself as a dungeon, it starts to want to go out of the dungeon and take care of the town, which it thinks is threatening it. So that's something that comes in later that is in there. You also have the ability, I think, of the leaders, and this is something that you can find in many adventures as well that go along with this, that are available on artofthegenre.com. The ability of having a banner leader and the banner to be able to start transmitting information about the dungeon or who is in it. That's important. It's something that starts happening to characters around this time period. And then the dungeon itself. The second level of the dungeon is bigger than the first level. It has 33 rooms, and each one of those rooms is going to need to be cleared to get to the next level of the dungeon, obviously. That's the way that the mechanic works. I threw in a lot of apes because I like their rending ability. I think they really put some fear in characters, and they're kind of fun to use. I can't imagine a big white ape running at me. I don't care if I'm full plate with a shield or not. It's going to panic you. You don't want that rend to go off, so keep that in mind. I put a lot of those in there. And then I've got a Rakshasha, who is a lot of fun in there as kind of a boss of the level, and a vampire who's also a boss of the level. So those are going to be the highest level points that you're going to be dealing with within level 2. I think the levels are typically somewhere between around 3rd to 5th. You're going to be moving through this. And, that's basically all I have to say about it. It's a pretty straightforward dungeon. That's the way I like to keep it, but there are a lot of story arcs that you can play with as a DM, depending on how your characters are. Maybe they hate that and they just want to murder hobo rooms and just let them go through and see what happens to them, unleash them. But if you want more story and investigate the town and have more play coming off of stuff, absolutely, it's in here to do it. Again, this module is set up like most of mine. I'll show this to you. You have the Gazetteer section, the adventure booklet, and then the removable cover that also acts as a DM screen. So keep that in mind if you're ever looking at getting these. These are available, as always, on artofthegenre.com. But if anybody actually comments on this particular YouTube video, comments, and then sends me a message to my email, which is listed in the description, I will send you a PDF copy for free of Folio number 2, so you can take a look at it and see what you think. And again, that's just a thank you for taking a look at my page, hopefully subscribing and hitting notifications. We're currently at 119 members, and I'm hoping for maybe 125 by the weekend. So thank you again. I hope you did take a look at what we have here to offer on our Folio Friday at Art of the Genre, and take advantage of a free module because you might have fun with it. Why not? So again, just put a comment below and then email me in the from the description of this video. And otherwise, that's all I've got to say about Folio number 2. And as always, great gaming.